There is a fairly significant move within the Australian community seeking to have Australian people to build the Australian things that we want to use and consume here as much as we possibly can. And yet there are moves of government to do exactly the opposite. Let's examine very briefly what actually happens to go on here. First of all, if we buy a product from an overseas country, the people who would be doing the work in this country will more than likely be unemployed. And therefore, we will be responsible for their upkeep, their maintenance, and all of those expenses associated with them. So therefore, into the equation of the cost of buying a product built overseas when it could have been made in Australia, we need to factor in the cost of not having those people employed in Australia. That's called the opportunity cost in economic terms. That needs to be seriously considered. Unfortunately, it is never considered by government. One of the things is this: when it comes to particularly defence materials, when we build our own here, we can actually use our capacity for cutting-edge technology to get something which is vastly different from somewhere else. When we buy something from overseas, what we are buying is old technology, and we are having people that we need to support without a job. It seems to me to be far better to actually have Australian people building Australian things. Hence, I fully support the Build Them Here Now campaign. I think it's important that we do build things here. One of the advantages of building things here, we also do not lose the brain drain into other parts of the world. You see, when you are doing research on how to engineer something to make it work better or whatever else, you get to a level in this country where it is pointless to go any further because the product is not being built here. And so you need to go and get a job with the various places that build them. And we lose the expertise in this country. I do not advocate to go to war, but if perchance somebody decides to go to war within the region of Australia, we can quite easily be cut off from our supply of whatever it is. One of the things which I bring to my mind very quickly is the fact that oil production. We need to produce from the raw material, the oil that crude oil that comes out of the ground. We need to manufacture that to produce the various goods that we have from it, which is the fuels, the different types of fuels that operate our cars, trucks, aircraft, and other internal combustion engines. We also have to produce the lubricants that's required to make these things operate. Currently, we produce none in Australia. Currently, we have around about 2 weeks' supply of fuel at any time in this country. We are in a very difficult position. If a conflict was to be created in this area, it would take a lot of effort to start up a new factory to produce fuel in this country for our consumption. We would be in a very, very vulnerable position. This is unacceptable. We also have a number of people who do not have jobs in this country, people who would love to have a job but can't get one because we have exported their jobs. We need to get every Australian working. And the things that we need to build here. It is only when we cannot build them here should we be looking to import them. It ought not to be just a standard process. Somebody else makes something, so let's do it. We are not a part of an entire one world administration. We are an independent nation. And as an independent nation, we have to be able to take care of ourselves to the best of our capacity that we can. And only those things that we cannot do should we bring into this country. We have the capacity to build ships, we have the capacity to build aircraft, we have the capacity to build cars, trucks, we have the capacity to build computers, washing machines, white goods. We have the capacity to do all of those things. We've proven it in the past. We now need to do it in the present. We need the jobs for everybody. We need to make sure Australia is back at work. Thank you. I'm Milton Kane, Christian Democratic Party.